Hey guys, it is Julie here with JT.Wealth. In today's video, we are chatting about Palantir. So let's get into it. All right, guys, welcome back and thank you so much for being here. Like I said, we are chatting about Palantir. Now, this stock just recently came to the market and is seeing a lot of rise in this last couple of weeks. So we are going to take a look at what has exactly been causing that. And just before we get into all of the Palantir info, this is just your friendly reminder that if you enjoy today's video, make sure you give us a big thumbs up and leave your thoughts down below in the comments. Other ways to help support the channel are to check out the great links we have in the description below. This includes a link to my Patreon page, which gets you access to our Discord chat group, plus some other great referral links if you're looking to open up a new investment account. These will get you some sign-up bonuses, including free stocks. Okay, now let's get into Palantir. Now, Palantir's public market debut occurred on Wednesday, September 30th, and that was 17 years after the company was created. In pursuing a direct listing, Palantir followed the path of Spotify and Slack, allowing existing investors to sell shares rather than raising money in a stock sale. Palantir shares traded actively in the private market, selling between $4.17 and $11.50 this year. Now, most people know of Palantir due to their involvement with government military contracts, but they do offer a variety of solutions. They build software that lets organizations integrate their data, their decisions, and their operations into one platform. Their software empowers entire organizations to answer complex questions quickly by bringing the right data to the people who need it. And you can see under their solutions, this ranges from cyber, financial compliance, insurance, law enforcement, to auto racing and automotive and different mergers and acquisitions. So a wide variety of solutions there. Most notably, Palantir is working with various governments on virus tracking analytics and vaccine deployment strategies. Trading under the ticker PLTR, Palantir saw an increase of up to 15% today at $18.32. Looking at the last couple of weeks, you can see some considerable increases in their share price. So we're going to get into the factors behind that. Starting off with their rally last week after their earnings report. When Palantir shares traded higher after an upbeat response to the company's first earnings report as a public company, and despite a downgrade of the stock on a valuation basis by Morgan Stanley analyst Keith Weiss. For the quarter, Palantir late Thursday reported revenue of $289.4 million, which was up 52%, and ahead of the guidance range of $278 million to $280 million. Non-GAAP operating income, adjusting for the costs of its recent stock listing, was $73.1 million, ahead of the guidance range of $6 to $8 million. So let's take a little bit of a closer look at some key takeaways from that earnings report. First being their revenue growth, as Palantir's total revenue rose 52% year over year to that $289.4 million during their third quarter, beating those estimates by $10.1 million. And it secured three major deals during the quarter: a $91 million contract with the U.S. Army, a $36 million contract with the National Institutes of Health, and a $300 million contract renewal with an unnamed aerospace customer. Second is that 56% of revenue came from Gotham. Now, Palantir operates two main platforms, Gotham for government customers and Foundry for enterprise customers. Both services gather information on users from disparate sources to craft actionable data. Gotham accounted for 56% of Palantir's revenue during the quarter, up from 51% a year earlier, while the remaining 44% came from Foundry. Now, that is a key takeaway, as a lot of people view Palantir's dependence on government contracts as a weakness. So it's good to know that it is basically a 50-50 split between government and non-government. Number 3 is an increase in customers, but also a 38% growth in average revenue per customer, as Palantir ended the quarter with 132 customers, up from 125 at the end of the second quarter. Now, that number might seem low, but each of those large customers generates millions of dollars in revenue. In the first 9 months of 2020, its average revenue per customer rose 38% over year to $5.8 million. Its average revenue for its top 20 customers also grew 36% to $23.6 million. Number 4 is taking a closer look at their net loss, as their net loss widened year over year from $139.9 million to $853.3 million. So that trickled down to a loss of 94 cents per share, which broadly missed analyst expectations by 77 cents. But most of that loss was attributed to $847 million in stock-based compensation expenses related to its direct listing in September. So excluding those messy SBC expenses, its gross margin actually expanded year over year from 71% to 79% during the third quarter. And number 5 is that they're less than 22 times next year's sales. Palantir currently expects its revenue to rise 44% for the full year, compared to its prior forecast for 42% growth. It also expects revenue to grow more than 30% in fiscal 2021. Based on those estimates, Palantir's stock trades at 28 times this year's sales and less than 22 times next year's. Those valuations might seem high, but they're actually much lower than the price-to-sales ratios of some of other recent high-growth tech IPOs. Now, Palantir will remain a controversial stock, but investors shouldn't ignore their revenue growth, expanding margins, and reasonable valuation. Shortly after that, Palantir got another boost, this time from Cathie Wood and George Soros, who were the two big names in the investing world that added positions in Palantir Technologies. On Friday the 13th, Cathie Wood added 1,025,700 shares of Palantir to the Ark Next Generation Internet ETF. Now, Palantir represents about 0.5% of the fund's assets, which is its second lowest holding. The Soros fund management firm added 18.5 million shares of Palantir in their third quarter, according to a 13F filing put out on Friday, and that fund is led by George Soros. Now, that is important because the Ark Next Generation ETF is up over 105% in 2020 and is one of the best performing ETFs. Woods has a tendency to make small purchases first and then start accumulating shares in chunks over the next few days. So you can see here in the Ark Next Generation Internet ETF, the Palantir holdings, now just shy of 1,050,000 shares. Now, the objective of that Ark ETF is to focus on companies that they expect to benefit from shifting the bases of technology infrastructure to the cloud, enabling mobile and new and local services, such as companies that rely on or benefit from the increased use of shared technology, infrastructure and services, internet-based products and services, new payment methods, big data, the Internet of Things, and social distribution and media. Based on the Soros fund filing, the purchase price was around $175 million, which means Soros could have bought the shares at under $10. So that valuation could be up by more than 50% thanks to Palantir's recent run-up above the $15 level. But in an article that came out today on CNN Business, Soros Fund Management said in a statement Tuesday that it has since sold all of its shares in Palantir that it's not legally or contractually obliged to hold and will continue to sell shares as permitted. So it doesn't sound like this is a very long-term investment for Soros. Now, this week we have seen yet another boost to Palantir's stock, and that was after Steve Cohen's Point72 snapped up shares of the company. And this caused Palantir Technologies to surge to a fresh high after Steve Cohen's hedge fund and others disclosed they've been buying shares of the data mining company. Point72 Asset Management bought 29.9 million Palantir shares in the third quarter. Anchorage Capital Group also acquired 2.95 million shares, and that follows purchases by other hedge funds, including the Soros Fund Management, which we mentioned. So this news caused Palantir shares to rise as much as 18%. The stock has gained over 155% since it went public in September. So a lot of interesting things happening for Palantir's stock lately. And with the demand and necessity of artificial intelligence only increasing in both government and non-government applications, the demand for Palantir's solution should only increase in the future. So please leave a comment down below and let me know your thoughts. I know Palantir can be slightly controversial, but I always love hearing from you guys. So what do you think of this stock? Is it one that you're interested in investing in, and what does the future look like? Of course, these videos are never a suggestion to buy or sell any specific stock and are only made for information and entertainment purposes. Any trades should always be made based on your own due diligence. If you made it all the way to the end of the video here, make sure you give us a big thumbs up and that you're subscribed to the channel. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day, and cheers.